Tell me your most chilling experiences with the supernatural so far. I've had too many experiences growing up. From the time I can start remembering up to today, there seems to be something creeping up on me. But the most scariest are 1. One night a few years ago, my ex-SO at the time and I were having a conversation about cryptids and the supernatural. Eventually, it led us to talk about skinwalkers. I was describing what I thought a skinwalker could look like in its natural form, and I was going into complete detail. All of a sudden, I heard this loud and menacing female laugh coming from I don't know where. The laugh sounded old, croaky, and just downright demonic-like. It's so hard to explain, but I freaked out and started panicking. My ex-SO had to grab me and repeatedly asked what was wrong. "Didn't you hear that?" I asked. "Heard what?" "You were just talking, then all of a sudden, you freaked out." He looked so concerned, and him not hearing the laugh just freaked me out even more. It seems like the laugh was meant for only me to hear. 2. I used to love exploring cemeteries and have always had a small encounter or two on each visit. One night, I was walking near a children's section. At the time, I didn't know it was a children's section because it was too dark and I didn't have a flashlight, wasn't expecting to visit that night, and wanted to see if I was capable of walking without one. First time going to that cemetery too. Dumb move, probably. Out of nowhere, I started to feel terrified, and it felt like I was walking through a dark cloud. I heard some movement in front of me, maybe footsteps. Thinking it was a cat or something, I called out, "Hey, sorry. Just passing through." I love talking to animals, but also in case it was a person. More footsteps, sounds like whatever it was is getting closer. I stop and started to get an electric feeling on my skin, having the feeling that I need to run and run fast. I slowly walked backwards, then whatever it was started growling at me. It was definitely not any animal I've heard before, and I don't know if it was human or not, but I ran out of that cemetery like my life depended on it. When I got back in the car, doors locked and engine running, I looked back at the direction where the growl came from. I was able to make out a tall silhouette of some being walking to a wall, then it disappeared. Nope, tried out there for a while. 3. I was at the mall with my ex, same as number 1, and we split for a while so I can use the bathroom. When I got out of the bathroom, I didn't see him anywhere, so I walked around the mall trying to find him. I was walking down a long hallway and I saw him in front of me turn a corner, but he was walking a lot slower than usual. I ran after him, but when I turned the corner expecting to catch up to him, he was gone. Like out of nowhere, he disappeared. No one else was around the area. I was just confused. I know I saw him turn the corner there, where'd he go? I thought. I kept walking forward, getting closer to the exit. Literally a second later, he comes from the corner outside of the building, walking in like normal. I stop and stared at him with the most frightened and confused expression on my face. "You look like you saw a ghost," he said, laughing. "Wait, you didn't just walk out?" "No, I forgot something in the car, went as soon as you went to the bathroom. But I just saw you turn the corner here." Now, this was a long hallway, and it would have been impossible for him to turn the corner and run all the way to the exit. I would have definitely seen him run if that were him. Whoever or whatever it was that I saw was an exact replica of this person, down to the glasses, facial hair, clothes, height, everything. One night about 3 or 4 years ago, not sure, I can't remember exactly, after a session of chemo. Which at this point, I was about a year and a half into. I was really tired and decided to go to sleep early, 4:30 p.m. My brother had to study so he wouldn't be asleep till late, and while my dad goes to bed around 9 after watching TV for a bit. This is where it gets weird. At around 11:30 p.m., all of a sudden, I woke up, not scared or startled or afraid or anything like that, so I just thought, okay, might just be thirsty or something, but as I start to wake up more fully, I realize I hear murmuring from my bedroom doorway, left it open in case I had to call out, because at the point due to the chemo, I was unstable on my feet and sick often. So as I look up, I see my dad and my brother looking in with this look of sheer horror on their faces. I end up mumbling, "Can you get me a glass of water?" just loud enough that only my brother could hear me, but all he does is look at me, then back to my right, then right of the bed, which annoyed me a little because I knew he heard me because he looked me right in the face. So I look to my right and all I see is this dark shadow-like figure with this white outline like dark clouds have when the sun is behind them, and all I could think at that moment without realizing it till the next morning when I asked about it was 3 things. 1. Oh, hi grandma. 2. Wait. That was my grandma on my dad's side. She's dead. And 3. Bugger it, I'm not that thirsty if I'm dying tonight. I may as well be asleep. And to this day, neither my dad or my brother wants to talk about it. So yeah, long story short, cancer patient wakes up in the middle of the night with the possible ghost of his grandmother standing over him while his father and brother stare into the room like deers in the headlights of a road trail. I worked at a small cafe in a very old building. I used to open every day. We opened at 7, so I had to get there at 6. In the winter, it's very dark in the morning. So, one morning, I walked in to open. Same as every morning. I walked through the dark dining room toward the hallway to turn the lights on. As soon as I hit the threshold into the hallway, it felt like I ran straight into a brick wall. I literally couldn't move. I was frozen. I felt this horrendous, terrifying feeling wash over me, and it felt like I was surrounded by a scream. I managed to pull out of it and raced out of the restaurant. I waited on the windowsill by the front door for the cook to come in before I went back inside. Fast forward to a year later, I'm walking to the back storage area to get some napkins. Our storage room is in an old garage part of the building with massive garage doors. The doors are barred closed all of the time and don't move, even in heavy wind. Anyway, I turned a corner and saw a tall man with a top hat standing against the wall. He was facing perpendicular to me. I glanced away for a second and looked back and he was gone. I went to quickly grab napkins and the garage doors started shaking. Almost like someone was pushing on them rapidly. Super weird. I'm back at the cafe now after 4 years of living in a different city. I've yet to feel anything like that this time around. This was back in 2012. October 2012. Let me preface this by saying that the room I stayed in my parents' house used to be my grandfather's room. It's sort of like an apartment. It's got its own kitchen and bathroom, etc. He passed in 2005 and I moved into the room in 2009. Ever since I moved back here, every once in a while, I'll feel a presence in the room. Someone sitting at the edge of my bed or holding my hand, or I feel like someone's hand is on my shoulder. This is never ever threatening and I never feel in danger because I believe it is Grandpa. So in October of 2012, I was doing my junior practicum student teaching. This is a sort of program where you go once a week to a school and observe before real student teaching starts. It was a Tuesday night, and I only remember this because I went to the school on Wednesdays. It was a considerable distance from my house, so I tried to get to bed early. This one night, I had trouble getting to sleep, which I never have. I can usually pass out anywhere at any time. I began to feel an anxiety come over me and a state of panic. Another thing that never happens to me. In my mind's eye, I kept envisioning a tall black humanoid figure with a long red tongue standing in the corner of my room, and at the time, it felt very vivid, but now I can't recall any details about this figure except that tongue. I began to feel like if I stayed in my room any longer, I would be in serious danger. I went into the next room, our family room, and decided to watch TV. I looked above the TV at the cable box and noticed it was 2:59 a.m. The second that digital clock hit 3, there were sounds of crickets coming from inside the room and the attached laundry room. Once that box hit 3:01, everything stopped. Now I am not a religious person, but my supervising teacher at school is. He had told me that crickets are related to locusts, referring to the biblical plague, and he told me to recite the prayer to Saint Michael. He couldn't remember it. He had told me he said that prayer every day and just couldn't seem to remember it. Getting home that day and accompanying days, it seemed as though there was a fog around my room. And the room felt different. Just off. I would come home and lay on my bed for an afternoon nap, and the bed started to shake. It got to the point where my mother began to ask me if anything felt weird. She has her own experiences, but that's a different story for a different day. Now I live in New Jersey, and in October of 2012, we were hit by Hurricane Sandy, and we were without power for about a week or so, and I was not sleeping in that room in the darkness. I moved my mattress upstairs to our living room. Every night that week, a bluish-gray fog came up from downstairs and circled the room, and I began to have dreams. Dreams of religious icons and the Virgin Mary falling into pits of fire. I had realized soon after that I forgot my grandfather's birthday. Usually I'd light a candle at church or something for him. I thought maybe he was angry with me or something. So I went to church and lit a candle. It didn't change anything. A night soon after, however, I had a dream I was driving with Grandpa down a road. It was a pitch black paved road, and it was bright white on either side, like a desert. My grandpa had a really thick Irish brogue, and sometimes it was hard to understand him, but he said something along the lines of always being there. The next morning, I told my mom while my youngest brother was in the room, and he interrupted me and began filling in details of my dream for me. I asked him how he knew all this, and all he said was, "I was in the back seat." The following night, I had another dream. One of those hypnic jerk dreams where you start yourself awake, only I couldn't wake up. I was in a dead cornfield with naked androgynous gray children who were dancing around with each other. They kind of looked like the kids on the cover of Led Zeppelin's Houses of the Holy album. And from behind these children and up from the ground came a giant black monster. It kind of looked like a dragon. I could see the folds and it's about as clear as day as it looked down on me. From behind, it came a winged humanoid being. I guess an angel, and it had a sword. It stabbed the creature and knelt down in front of me. I woke up. At the foot of my bed was a white translucent figure. It hovered there for about 10 seconds before disappearing. As I looked at it, I felt a peace I had never felt before, and I don't think I'm ever going to feel again. The dreams and everything stopped after that. I never told my youngest brother about the black figure, or the dragon, or the children, but fast forward a year later and I come home from work, and my brother is sitting at the kitchen table looking shaken. He tells me he had a dream of children dancing around a dead cornfield and a black dragon behind them. No angel came, but he told me when he got ready for school and left, looking out the window of his room was a large black figure with a long red tongue. That was the last I ever heard of it. I'm still not particularly religious, but I can tell you ever since that event, I sleep with the lights on and have had routine sleep paralysis.